right now, you are probably doing something in your home that feels, incredibly smart, but it's actually slowly suffocating your air conditioner.
Oh, absolutely. It's one of those things everyone does.
Right. So picture a typical Saturday afternoon. You walk past the spare guest room. Maybe the kids moved out, or, it's just a space you rarely use.
Sure, just an empty room.
Yeah. You step inside, you nudge the little lever on the floor register until it snaps shut, and then you pull the heavy wooden door closed on your way out.
Because in your mind, you've just optimized your house.
Exactly. You stopped sending heating or cooling into an empty void, so you're maximizing your home's energy efficiency. I mean, it feels like pure, undeniable logic.
It's a completely natural assumption. I mean, we're
Yeah.
conditioned to turn off things we aren't actively using.
Right, like turning off a TV.
Yeah. The idea of pumping conditioned air into an unoccupied room, it feels like, leaving the refrigerator door wide open while you go on vacation.
Except that piece of common sense is actually one of the most destructive myths in the entire HVAC world. So we're dedicating today's deep dive to looking under the hood of your home's ductwork. We want to understand the invisible physics of how your house breathes.
Which is such an important topic.
It really is. And our source material for this comes directly from Dave Hartzell. He's the owner of Hartzell's Heat and Air based in Kingfisher, Oklahoma. And the crucial detail here, Dave, is a NATE certified master HVAC technician who has spent exactly 47 years in the trade.
Wow. Which is, frankly, a profound level of hands-on experience.
Exactly.
Exactly 47 years doing this.
Yeah, that's almost half a century.
And that NATE certification, that's an important detail. It stands for North American Technician Excellence.
It's not just a participation trophy, right?
Oh, not at all. It requires passing rigorous industry standard testing. It validates a technician's deep understanding of core thermodynamics, electrical theory, and just the complex mechanics of modern climate control.
So he really knows his stuff.
Exactly. When someone with that credential and exactly 47 years in the field flags a common homeowner habit as disastrous,
Right.
we really need to pay attention.
We absolutely do. So our mission today is to break down why trying to outsmart your thermostat actually forces the equipment to work against itself.
Right.
Because I think the root of the problem is that we project how one technology works onto a completely different mechanical system. Like, I always viewed my vents through the lens of a light switch.
Oh, that makes total sense as an analogy.
Yeah, like when I flip a switch off in the hallway, the electrical panel at the side of the house isn't blindly shoving that same amount of electricity into a dead-end wire.
Right, the draw just stops.
Exactly, it simply stops. So I just figured the air conditioner operated with that same, localized awareness.
And that is the exact trap Dave highlights.
Yeah.
Your HVAC system is effectively blind to the layout of your physical rooms.
It doesn't know the guest room is closed off.
Not at all. There is no sensory network telling the central unit that a room is isolated. These machines are engineered by calculating the total square footage, the number of windows, the thermal load of the whole house.
So it's looking at the big picture.
Always. It determines a very specific volume of air that must be moved constantly.
Meaning the machine basically only knows two modes, on and off.
Precisely. When your thermostat calls for cooling, the blower motor, that massive cylindrical fan inside your furnace, it spins up to a specific number of RPMs.
And it just stays there.
Right. A standard blower motor does not have the capacity to throttle its RPMs down just because you blocked a single exit path.
Yeah.
It generates the exact same volume of airflow no matter what.
It just forcefully pushes that air through the main trunk lines.
Exactly. Completely, regardless of what you do with the individual registers at the end of the line.
Okay, so if that massive wheel is still spinning at the exact same RPM and generating the exact same volume of air, but I physically blocked off, say, 10% of the exits in the house.
That air has to go somewhere.
Right. The energy doesn't just vanish.
No, it doesn't. In fluid dynamics, when you take a set volume of a moving substance and restrict its exit path, that kinetic energy immediately converts into static pressure.
Static pressure. Okay.
Yeah, and Dave uses an incredibly vivid analogy for this. Think about standing in your yard with a running garden hose, and you press your thumb hard over the opening.
Oh, sure. The water coming from the spigot doesn't slow down just because my thumb is in the way.
No, the pressure climbs violently right behind your
The
thumb.
hose gets all rigid.
Exactly. The rubber hose physically bulges, and the water that does manage to escape sprays out wildly and unevenly.
Wow. So when you close vents in your home, you are effectively putting your thumb over the end of the ductwork.
You are. That static pressure builds up inside the sheet metal and flexible tubing hidden in your walls.
So the blower motor is suddenly forcing air against a massive wall of back pressure.
It's an immense physical strain.
It's like imagine taking a deep breath, filling your lungs entirely, and trying to exhale forcefully while someone covers half of your mouth.
That is a perfect way to picture it.
That tightness in your chest, that struggle to force the air out, that's the exact mechanical strain your blower motor experiences the moment it powers on.
And just like your respiratory system would quickly fatigue under those conditions, your HVAC system begins to physically break down.
Because it's working way too hard.
Exactly. And based on his 47 years of opening up these strained systems, Dave outlines 3 distinct domino effects that trigger when a home faces high static pressure.
Okay, what's the first domino?
The first one to fall is severe duct leakage.
Because the ductwork hidden in our homes isn't built like a pressurized submarine hull. It's assembled in pieces.
Right. It's essentially a puzzle of sheet metal elbows, flexible plastic tubing, and distribution boxes.
Held together by what? Just screws and tape?
Screws, specialized mastic sealant, and foil tape, yeah. So when you trap highly pressurized air inside those pathways, the air relentlessly seeks the path of least resistance.
It's looking for a way out.
Exactly. It presses against every single seam and microscopic gap. Over time, that pressure compromises the seals and blasts right through the joints.
Oh, wow. And most of this ductwork is running through the most hostile environments in the house, right? Like the attic or a dirt crawl space.
Usually, yes.
Which means the system is using a massive amount of energy to perfectly chill the air, only to violently eject that conditioned air straight into a 130-degree attic.
It's completely counterproductive. You are air conditioning the rafters while the living room stays hot.
That is the ultimate paradox. I mean, the attempt to maximize efficiency creates the most wasteful scenario possible.
It really does. But the second domino is even more dramatic, and it involves the physics of the refrigeration cycle itself. It's the frozen coil.
Okay, wait. I need to understand the mechanics of this, because the idea of an air conditioner getting so excessively cold that it essentially breaks itself, it sounds completely contradictory.
It sounds crazy, but it all comes down to the delicate balance of heat exchange.
Okay, how does that work?
So inside your indoor unit, there's an evaporator coil. It's this dense web of copper tubing and aluminum fins.
Right.
When the system is running, that coil is filled with liquid refrigerant that's actively boiling at a very low temperature.
Okay.
But for that refrigerant to evaporate and do its job, it requires a massive, continuous volume of warm household air to blow across those metal fins.
Got it. So the warm air from the house is basically the fuel that allows the refrigerant to boil.
Exactly. The heat is transferred into the coil, and the resulting cold air is pushed back into the rooms.
And that continuous airflow is what keeps the coil's surface temperature safely above the freezing point of water.
Yes. But when you choke the system by closing vents, the blower motors simply cannot move enough warm air across those metal fins.
So it's starved of heat.
It is. And without that incoming heat, the temperature of the liquid refrigerant plummets drastically. The metal coil itself drops below 72 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh, I see where this is going. Because our household air is full of ambient humidity.
Precisely. That airborne moisture hits the super chilled metal fins and immediately condenses.
Like a cold glass of water on a summer day?
Exactly like that. But because the metal is below freezing, that condensation instantly turns to frost.
And as the unit keeps running, I assume that frost becomes a layer of ice.
A thick layer of ice, which restricts the airflow even further, making the coil even colder.
It's a rapid feedback loop.
Yes. Until you literally have a solid block of ice sitting inside your furnace.
And air cannot pass through a glacier.
No, it can't. The system keeps running, consuming massive amounts of energy, but the house just keeps getting hotter.
That is wild. Okay, so we've got blasted deck seams and a glacier in the furnace. What is the third domino?
The third is critical motor wear. We established that standard blower motors try to maintain their designated RPMs.
Right, they don't want to slow down.
So when they face that wall of back pressure, the electrical components have to draw way more amperage to force the wheel to turn.
And higher amperage translates directly into excessive heat, right? Inside the motor housing.
Exactly. It's constantly redlining. It transforms a smooth, low-effort airflow cycle into a brutal daily grind.
It's just baking the internal bearings.
Baking the bearings, degrading the electrical windings, until the motor prematurely fails entirely.
Which is exactly why Dave is so adamant about leaving the system balanced.
Absolutely. But there is a nuance here that we should probably clarify regarding the scale of the restriction.
Okay, wait, yeah. Surely touching a single vent isn't going to blow up the compressor, right? Like if I'm working at my desk and the ceiling register is blasting freezing air directly onto the back of my neck, am I not allowed to nudge the lever closed just a little bit to deflect the draft?
That's a highly practical question. And no, it is not an absolute zero tolerance rule for every single louver in the house.
Okay, phew.
Yeah, the ductwork and the blower, they do have a small margin of tolerance. Closing a single register partway in one room to redirect a draft that will not instantly freeze your coil or rupture your ductwork.
So it's about the scale of it.
Exactly. The catastrophic spikes in static pressure occur when homeowners engage in a systematic shutdown of multiple spaces, like closing off the guest room, the unused office, and the basement all at once. The danger is strictly a matter of volume.
Okay, that makes sense. A slight deflection is fine, but treating rooms like disconnected boxes is the hazard. But what about the door itself?
Oh, the door is huge.
Because let's say I leave the guest room vent wide open to maintain the airflow, but I still shut the heavy wooden door to that room because, I don't know, I don't want the dog going in there. Does the door play a role in this pressure dynamic?
It plays a massive role, and it fundamentally changes how you need to view the architecture of your house. We tend to think of HVAC as a one-way street, you know.
Right, the machine blows air into the room and the job is done.
Right, but it's actually a continuous interconnected loop. It's a circulatory system.
Supply being the air blowing out of the floor or ceiling vents, and return being the air getting sucked back into those large, grated grills, usually in the main hallways.
Yes, exactly. For every cubic foot of air pushed into a bedroom, that exact same cubic foot of air absolutely must find a path back to the return grill.
So the machine can breathe it in, filter it, condition it, and send it out again.
Right. And in the vast majority of residential construction, builders do not install dedicated return ducts in every single bedroom.
They usually just rely on a central hallway return?
They do. Which means the only way the air escapes the bedroom to get back to the hallway is through the gap under the interior door.
Ah, the undercut.
The undercut. That small gap is a vital engineered pathway. If you shut a tight-fitting door to a room where the supply vent is still forcefully pumping in conditioned air, you are severely restricting that return path.
So the air can get into the room, but it struggles to get out.
Exactly. You are effectively pressurizing that specific room like a balloon.
Oh, wow. And because that room is now highly pressurized, the incoming supply air faces resistance.
Yes.
The blower motor, trying to push air into that room, meets a wall of high pressure, backing up the system, just as if you had manually closed the vent.
Exactly. You're breaking the loop.
You're breaking the loop on a room-size scale.
Right. Shutting doors starves the central return. It forces the blower to work harder to pull air from the rest of the house while simultaneously fighting the pressure buildup in the closed rooms.
It throws the aerodynamic balance of the entire structure into chaos.
Total chaos.
So if manually choking vents and shutting doors destroys the mechanical balance and spikes the static pressure, how are we actually supposed to manage the climate in an unused space?
Well, there is a way.
Like if someone desperately wants room-by-room control, does the industry offer a mechanically sound way to do it?
It does. If you truly need precise room-by-room management, the engineered solution is known as a zoning system.
Okay. And this is completely different from just closing a piece of plastic over a floor vent.
Very different.
How does the zoning system avoid the static pressure trap? Because if a damper shuts off the guest room, duct deep inside the walls, that same volume of air still has to go somewhere, right?
Exactly, which is why a proper zoning system is highly complex. It involves motorized dampers installed inside the trunk lines, controlled by multiple thermostats throughout the house.
Okay.
But the critical difference is how the system handles the displaced air. A zoned system is designed with relief mechanisms.
Like a pressure release valve for the ductwork?
Precisely. In many setups, they install what is called a bypass duct. When the motorized damper closes off the guest wing, the system intelligently opens the bypass duct.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it takes that excess high-pressure air and loops it directly back into the return plenum before it ever reaches the living space.
It bleeds off the static pressure safely.
Exactly. So the blower motor never feels the resistance.
That is brilliant.
Furthermore, modern zoning often pairs with variable speed ECM blowers. That stands for electronically commutated motors.
Okay, how are those different?
Unlike the standard motors we discussed earlier that only know one speed, an ECM contains a microprocessor that constantly monitors the static pressure in the ductwork. Yeah, when the zoning system closes a damper, The ECM senses the change in aerodynamics and actually digitally scales back its RPMs. It gently adjusts its output to perfectly match the new, smaller duct configuration.
Oh, wow. So it's the localized awareness I incorrectly assumed my standard unit had.
Exactly. The machine actually communicates with the ductwork. It safely and dynamically alters the physics of the system.
But, I mean, installing a full variable speed zoning system with bypass ducts, that's a massive, highly technical retrofit.
Oh, it is. It's a huge undertaking.
So for those of us running standard central air, Dave outlines several boring but effective maintenance habits that optimize efficiency without torturing the equipment.
And honestly, in mechanical engineering, boring is usually where the true longevity lives.
I love that. So number one on his list, obsessively changing your air filters.
Yes.
If we are focused on preventing static pressure and motor strain, a clogged, dirty filter is the equivalent of forcing an athlete to run a marathon while breathing through a thick wool blanket.
That's a great image. It just starves the intake side of the loop.
Right. Keep the filter fresh and the air flows without resistance.
It really is the single most impactful action a homeowner can take for the health of the system.
Number two is sealing and insulating your ductwork. We explore the disaster of high-pressure air blasting through weak seams into the attic.
Right, which you want to avoid.
Exactly. If you ensure your ductwork is properly mastic sealed and insulated, every single ounce of cooling effort your system generates is successfully delivered into the living space. It secures the integrity of the loop.
No wasted effort, no lost conditioning. It's perfectly efficient.
And finally, embracing whole house thermostat setbacks.
Ah, yes.
Instead of trying to micromanage individual rooms by choking off vents, simply let the temperature of the entire house drift a few degrees when you leave for work.
Exactly. You are allowing the machine to operate exactly as it was engineered to.
As a beautifully balanced whole house circulatory loop, it just runs slightly less frequently.
When you look at the broader picture, it's fundamentally about working in harmony with the design parameters of the machine, rather than, trying to outsmart it with localized tactics that disrupt the physics of fluid dynamics.
So to crystallize the central lesson from Dave's half-century of experience, your HVAC system is a breathing machine.
It is.
It requires a balanced loop of supply and return. Closing registers does not signal the equipment to dial back its output.
Not at all.
It only creates a high-pressure trap that starves your coil of heat, blasts conditioned air out of your duct seams, and grinds your blower motor to a premature halt.
It's a perfect example of how a localized action causes systemic failure.
No, I have a very specific direct message to relay on behalf of our source today.
Let's hear it.
If you are struggling with hot and cold spots, if your system seems to be running constantly without keeping you comfortable, or if you are interested in exploring how a true engineered zoning system could work for your layout, there is a right way to handle it. Reach out to Dave Hartzell at Hartzell's Heat and Air.
Highly recommend.
They are located at 602 South Main in Kingfisher, Oklahoma. They are a family-run operation, fully NATE certified, with exactly 47 years in the trade.
That 47 years is just incredible.
It really is. You can call them directly at 405-375-4822 or book an appointment online at hartzellsheetair.com. They hold a 4.8-star rating with over 300 Google reviews, which, speaks volumes in the service industry.
It definitely does. Getting to unpack the unseen physics with a technician who has spent 47 years diagnosing these exact failures, it completely shifts your perspective.
It really does.
You will never look at a closed door or a flow register the same way again.
I am genuinely going to walk through my house tonight and make sure every interior door has a clear undercut.
Good idea.
But as we wrap up this deep dive, what is a final concept or question you want to leave everyone with?
Well, the revelation that shutting a vent, something that feels so inherently logical, is actually mechanically destructive, forces us to look at our homes differently.
How do you mean?
Your house is a collection of complex, invisible systems. So think about the plumbing hidden in your walls, the thermal envelope of your insulation, the grounding of your electrical grid.
Right.
How many other deeply ingrained, common sense home maintenance habits are we executing every single day that are completely at odds with the invisible physics and engineering of how our homes are actually designed to function?
That is a brilliant question. We might be systematically stressing our homes just by trying to be helpful.
Exactly.
We will absolutely have to investigate those other hidden systems in a future deep dive. Until then, keep those vents open, leave the interior doors cracked, and let your house breathe.